Hi everyone. I wanted today to talk about grown up kids. This is a topic I'm quite sure that if you're in your midlife and if you have children, this is going to resonate with you. Because what happens is that the universal experience of parenthood, it evolves as our children grow older, right? Because as a parent, you never cease to be a parent. What happens during adulthood as your children grow older is that you're just transitioning in these roles. So there is a shift in the role that you play and in the dynamics that happen as our children transition into adolescence and adulthood. So this is a very pivotal moment, right? And I'm quite sure that you will have your individual challenges that you face, and I can share some of the challenges that I have as well. But let's just first of all see what happens to us as parents during this time. So what we had to take care of a role as a caretaker before, while our children were small, and just guiding them through their life, through their schooling, through everything that they have to experience in order for them to become these individuals that they are today. And now that they are either at the threshold of becoming adults or are already grown up kids, our role now changes from being a caretaker to a more advisory or a more supportive role, right? And now this transition can be quite challenging for parents and for the children as well, because they have to juggle with the new you and the new role that they find themselves in. So one of the experiences that I can share with you is that when my daughter left for university, and she left the country and she went to another country to study, that for me was probably, in my role as a mother, was one of the most difficult times that I have been through, because it changed the entire dynamic that we had as a family. Because before that, this was a unit that had its certain rules and regulations and boundaries, and it operated within this unit. And now when you take out one person, then it changes, right? It becomes very different. Now, in addition to that, my role as a caretaker changed as well. So it was no longer just taking care of my daughter and making sure that she, simple things that we all do, right? As parents, we want to just make sure that they have eaten properly, that they're doing their schoolwork, that they're not getting into trouble, just very simple things. And then it shifted, because it was no longer these small little details that I put a lot of energy and investment in. And it's of course, all of these come from a sense of love, but we have to understand how the love now has to transform into showing itself differently. So then what happened was that then my role was more of somebody who is far away, but still holding the space to create a very supportive environment for her to still operate within while she's exploring her newfound life, right? So this I found personally to be extremely challenging, and one of the um, one of the things that I found was helpful during this time is to start self-reflecting a little bit about my own role and why this was so why this was proving to be so difficult for me, and what was the underlying sentiment that I had. Was it a lack of control? Now, many people don't want to talk about this, but I think this is important to discuss this. As parents, of course, we exercise a certain amount of control over our children's lives. And was it that lack? Was it the feeling that I'm going to be redundant at some point because my role is no longer this caretaker? But what we have to understand is that although, on the one hand, all these emotions are very normal to feel, we need to move past them, move through them, and to experience this as now being something different, which doesn't necessarily mean bad. Different is not bad, it's just a change. And change, as we all know, is the only constant. It's necessary for growth, and it is good as well to experience things in a different light, right? So this emptiness syndrome that we're talking about, which in my case was my daughter leaving home, um, that has its impact on us parents, because we have, most of the challenges are of course emotional challenges, right? That we have this feeling of loss, of loneliness, and sometimes we also get into an identity crisis, especially if our identity has only been a parent. So what is good at this point, if you find yourself in this situation as well, is to look for some resources that can support you. So look for resources where parents come together and discuss and share their experiences of emptiness syndrome. The other strategy that I would encourage you to explore is to start re-evaluating your priorities in life, which means that now the shift needs to focus a little bit from the children onto you. So maybe some of the priorities changed as the children were growing older, and that's perfectly normal. But now there we need to take this phase as a natural evolution of life and say, okay, now the kids have left. Now, what about my dreams? What about my aspirations? What are the things that I have forgotten that were important to me, that gave me joy? Okay, so that is the other thing that really helps in navigating through these times. And besides all the other challenges that are there, there is also changes in the relationships that you have, which means that the impact of children leaving home has um, has an effect on the relationship that you have with your partner, if you are still in a marital relationship, or your friendships. So the challenge is also how to keep maintaining this intimacy and connection, because remember, like I said in the beginning, that this is a unit, right? This was a working unit, and now something we think falls apart. It doesn't. It just transforms into something different. But now we are again faced with the challenge with our personal intimate relationships. So seeking out advice for strengthening our personal relationships, fostering new connections in midlife, is also a great way to deal with this. So I would love to know, what are the key challenges that you are facing as your kids grow older, including your transitional roles, emptiness syndrome, reevaluating priorities, and navigating the changes in relationships. So do share in the comments below so others can also benefit from your experience and your advice. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.